From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Monday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Lauren, good morning, and I'm Rafael Sanchez. Here are your headlines on this October the 5th. It's back to school as thousands of Indianapolis students will be returning to the classroom this morning. Our Kelsey Anderson shows us the steps IPS is taking to keep kids and teachers safe.
And President Trump could be released from the hospital today as he continues to recover from COVID-19. This morning, the new information about his treatments and trial medications that he is taking.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana. Lauren Casey, welcome back from your vacation. We missed you last week. Nicole Griffin did a nice job, so we want to thank Nicole for that. And listen, I almost stepped outside, Lauren, but I don't have that big scarf that you wear to get to work, so I decided to not open the door this morning.
Yeah, that was a good idea, Rafael, because I looked up at my thermometer in my car. It said it was in the 30s today, and I think I could have used a warmer jacket. Alyssa, all the kids heading back to school today. Wow, not the best day at the bus stop.
You know what? It's a winter coat morning. The good news is it's not going to be a winter coat afternoon, but definitely need to bundle up a little bit this morning because this is a change from what we've seen past mornings. We've dropped about 20 degrees from where we were yesterday morning in Indianapolis. Right now it's 36 degrees. It's 30 in Terre Haute, 31 in Bloomington. So some chilly temperatures on the map this morning. We are actually under a frost advisory right now for some areas. As we head through the day, the good news is we have clear and sunny skies, so we're going to warm up quickly. We'll be in the mid-50s by the noon hour, low 60s this afternoon, and that's really going to be our coolest day of the forecast today. And then we are warming up as we head through the week. Tonight, not going to be nearly as chilly, so we're not going to start as cold tomorrow morning. We'll be in the 40s, which is more like what we should be this time of year. And then tomorrow we are starting that warm up. We're back into the 70s, close to 80 by Wednesday.
Alyssa, thank you. Take a look at these pictures right now. These are from State Police up in the Lafayette district. We can tell you that southbound I-65 is still closed after an early morning semi-fire. You're looking at the pictures here of it fully engulfed. This was near the southbound lanes at mile marker 154. Troopers are still working this scene, so you'll need to avoid that part of the interstate. So if you're a driver in Lafayette or areas to the northwest and you're trying to get southbound towards Indianapolis, you'll need to find an alternate route at this time. Maybe take US 52 or another road as a detour, and we'll continue to keep you updated. As of right now, we want to take a look at traffic for your commute. This is closer to the metro area out in Plainfield. Good morning to you. I-70 here. Look at State Road 267. Can't see the crash from our camera here, but I just got word about a left lane closure in the eastbound direction near State Road 267 due to a crash cleanup. That's something we'll continue to monitor as this is a construction zone, so sometimes we get things a little bit jammed up. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on that, but just a heads up as you travel through that area. At 5:02, Rafael, today for the first time since March, some IPS students will be making their way back into the classroom.
Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with how IPS plans to keep students and staff safe beginning today. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So it's a big day for the kids here at Daniel Webster Elementary School, plus with all the other IPS elementary schools, as kindergarten through third graders are going to be back in the classroom for the first time since March. But this is a look at their health and safety procedures. It's 41 pages, so they say that they're pretty prepared. We spoke to Principal Allison Peterkin on what policies and procedures are in place as students head back into the classroom. She says they have new standards for pretty much everything, including walking in the hallway, going to lunch, recess, dismissal, and even bathroom breaks.
Our bathroom procedure is a 3-page document explaining how we're going to use the bathrooms in a very safe way for the teachers, so they're aware of how to do that. We want to make sure that we are keeping our students as safe as possible and still giving them a great education.
She says students will eat in their classrooms. That way they can maintain proper social distancing and cohorting. So if all goes well for this first week for the K through third graders, they have next week off. Everybody is e-learning next week. And then on October 19th, they're going to start phasing in everybody K through 12. And of course, with all of these procedures and protocols in place. For more information on that and to see this whole packet, you can head over to WRTV.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson. WRTV.
All right, Kelsey, thank you. And we want you to know that today IPS is encouraging parents at 13 elementary schools to walk their kids to neighborhood schools. To help, the district is hiring crossing guards to work at the schools in those high traffic areas. We'll have more on this developing story coming up at 6:40 right here on Good Morning Indiana.
Lauren, for the fourth day in a row, Indiana is reporting more than 1,000 new cases of COVID-19 in our state. The state health department confirmed 1,096 new cases on Sunday. That brings Indiana's total number of cases to more than 125,000. 5 new deaths were also reported on Sunday. That's down from the numbers over the weekend. 3,447 deaths have now been confirmed in Indiana since the pandemic began. The Indianapolis Public Library Wayne Branch will reopen this morning after shutting down for a COVID-19 deep cleaning. It was closed Friday after a staff member tested positive for the virus. Officials immediately began contact tracing protocols, and other staff members were found to have been in close contact with that infected worker. They are now under self-quarantine.
The time right now is 5:05. After being diagnosed with COVID-19, President Trump's medical staff says that he's improving and he could leave the hospital as early as today. The president left his hospital room on Sunday, however, to pay a visit to his supporters outside of Walter Reed Medical Center. He waved as the motorcade passed the crowd. The White House also shared photos of what they say was the president working in the presidential suite of Walter Reed. After mixed messages about the president's condition, White House physician doctors gave an update on the treatments that he's been given.
The president has experienced 2 episodes of transient drops in his oxygen saturation. I recommended the president we try some supplemental oxygen. He stayed on that for about an hour.
Well, those treatments were given on Friday. When the doctor was pressed about other discrepancies, he says that he was trying to reflect an upbeat attitude and was not trying to hide anything. One of the drugs in the president's regimen is Dexamethasone. It's a steroid that's shown to have potential in helping people with the coronavirus. It's in a big way, it helps by reducing inflammation and swelling. It's used for many conditions, but in the COVID age, it's generally given to patients on supplemental oxygen or ventilation. One study out of the UK showed that it helped in the most severe cases, and it didn't make much of a difference in milder cases.
So, Lauren, efforts are still underway to contact people who attended several White House events since last weekend. Attorney General Bill Barr has changed his mind and is now deciding to quarantine. He was at that event for Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett last Saturday and had close contact with Kellyanne Conway, who is now positive. Now, Barr tested negative 4 times since then, and that's according to the Department of Justice. The White House is also working with New Jersey state health leaders to contact at least 206 people who may have been exposed to the virus at one of the president's fundraisers.
The U.S. Supreme Court starts a new term today, and while some significant cases are still pending, the big question seems to be what lies ahead following the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But as John Lawrence reports, some senators say with the pandemic, it's not safe to move forward.
A new dawn rising on the U.S. Supreme Court, and it begins with a vacant seat.
I've been a leader on getting conservative judges on the Supreme Court, and the best is yet to come.
Senate Republicans are trying to quickly confirm Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett as successor for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. In an email obtained by CNN, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told his Republican colleagues he needs all of them back on October 19th to ensure a quorum. However, once again, COVID-19 is a factor.
Think about the health risks involved here. Dianne Feinstein, the ranking Democrat, is 87 years old. Chuck Grassley, who was on the Judiciary Committee, is also in his mid-80s.
Several senators, including Republicans Tom Tillis, Ron Johnson, and Mike Lee, have recently tested positive for the virus. Democrats are calling on McConnell to put the process on hold.
Even though he has said it's not safe for the Senate to meet in session, but it's okay to have the hearings.
Although some Republicans say things can move forward,
I've got a job to do, and I'm pressing on.
Some analysts say work on the Hill presents risks.
There is COVID swirling through the United States Senate, and they are expecting these senators to sit right next to each other hour after hour, day after day.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Today is the last day to register to vote in Indiana. You can do so online right now by going to indianavoters.in.gov. Early voting in Indiana starts tomorrow. And we have your guide to the November general elections up right now on our website, WRTV.com. That includes all of the dates that you need to know in order to make sure your vote counts. Again, that's under the Election 2020 tab on WRTV.com. Now, time to check your forecast. Alyssa, how long will this frost advisory last? I'm not leaving my living room until you say it's lifted.
Okay, so you can leave at 9 a.m. this morning, Raphael, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm good.
And we actually just extended that frost advisory before. It was really just over the northwest, but as we've seen some of those temperatures falling this morning with those clear skies that we had overnight, we've actually extended that into most of central Indiana, down into Greensburg and Seymour as well. And that's because we are seeing those clear skies right now and those very chilly temperatures. Most of us in the 30s this morning, 36 right now in Indianapolis and Kokomo, 40 right in Bloomington, 35 in Shelbyville, 37 in Muncie, expecting us to drop down a couple degrees yet this morning just because we do have those clear skies. Now, the good news with the clear skies is going to help us warm up today. Expected to be right around 62 degrees with sunshine for a daytime high.
Alyssa, thank you. Speeding motorcycles and gunshots raising concerns in Broad Ripple. How one organization is working with police to stop this reckless behavior.
And a local nurse being credited for saving a life outside the hospital. The heroic actions he took at a Brownsburg bar. That story and much more coming up on this Monday right here on Good Morning Indiana.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 5:13, and here's a live look at your commute up on the northeast side of town, I-465 near 82nd Street, where you can see here traffic is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. Just be aware if you're traveling up here on the northeast side, we still have the on-ramp from Allisonville Road to westbound I-465 closed from a crash and some damage we had Thursday morning. We'll continue to keep you updated. You can always use Keystone Avenue as your detour as they're working on that area. Raphael?
So, Lauren, neighbors in Broad Ripple raising concerns about safety in their community. We spoke to Colleen Fanning. She's the executive director of the Broad Ripple Village Association and says that there have been multiple issues happening along the strip and neighborhoods in the overnight hours. She says there's been dozens of cars and motorcycles drag racing along Broad Ripple Avenue and others blocking traffic. Reports of gunshots have also become frequent. Fanning says her organization is working with IMPD to step up enforcement before someone gets hurt.
Whether that means speed traps, sobriety checks, DPW putting out some speed tables. We're really working with the city to figure out how we can combat this and keep everyone safe.
WRTV reached out to IMPD to learn more about its plan to work with the Broad Ripple Village Association. The department released a statement saying in part, IMPD North District maintains an excellent working relationship with the BRVA. This partnership has led to double-digit declines in homicides, aggravated assaults, burglaries, and other property crimes in the area. We will continue conversations focused on current issues related to speeding, reckless driving, and other public safety concerns.
This morning, the future of Regal movie theaters is uncertain after its owner, Cineworld, announced it's considering a temporary closure of all of its movie theaters in the U.S. and Britain. Now, there are at least 6 Regal locations here in central Indiana, including 2 in Indianapolis, 1 in Greenwood, Westfield, Noblesville, and also Avon. This announcement comes after the postponement of the new James Bond film that left a big hole in theater schedules. No Time to Die was delayed from November until April of 2021 because of the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Cineworld Group owns 543 Regal theaters across the country. And the hospitality industry also continuing to take a hit from this pandemic. A national lobbying group says that about 2/3 of Indiana's hotels could be forced to close permanently in the coming months if Congress doesn't provide more financial relief. The American Hotel and Lodging Association says that a survey from its members estimates nearly 700 hotels will close in the next 6 months if something isn't done. According to the Indianapolis Business Journal, thousands of Hoosier hospitality workers have already been laid off or furloughed since the pandemic began.
Let's talk about your health as layoffs continue across the country and across our state. Experts say those who keep their jobs may be feeling something called survivor's guilt. Research from the Myers-Briggs Company says that this summer they found roughly 1/3 of workers say that they feel guilty about having a job when others at their company have been furloughed or laid off.
It's important to remember that, guilt is really only effective when we've done something wrong. And this is one of those situations where typically the employees haven't done anything wrong. They're not usually the high-level decision makers, and so this thing's really out of our control.
Psychologist Valley Wright says instead of focusing on feeling guilty or anger, focus on feeling gratitude instead may be a better way to approach the situation. She says it's also important to check in on your friends and colleagues who were let go to make sure that they are okay and see how you can help them. For employers, she says that they can help offset those feelings by giving clear and consistent communication about the steps they took before letting people go. It is now time to check your forecast, and thanks to Alyssa Donovan on this Monday morning, I am waiting for that frost advisory to be lifted. And until then, Alyssa, I am staying right here in the official WRTV living room.
I think that's a good idea, Raphael. I had to put on my winter jacket this morning to come into the studio. Big change from what I was doing yesterday and the day before. Temperatures right now across the area. This is partially why we do have that frost advisory in place, and we've actually just seen it extended further south. It's 36 right now in Indianapolis, 33 in Greenfield, 31 in Greencastle, and 31 in Bloomington. So a chilly start today, and we do have those clear skies, which is helping cool us down overnight. Temperatures have dropped about 15 to 20 degrees across the area from this time yesterday morning, 22 degrees cooler in Bloomington and Terre Haute. So that really gives you an idea of that quick change that we've seen, and that's all due to that cool Canadian air that's dropped down from the north that's covering the Midwest right now, and you can really see that on our Midwest temperatures map. It's 34 in Peoria, 38 in Chicago. So we're not the only ones experiencing this mid-October chill in the air. As we head through the day, we are going to start warming back up. But first, I want to show you that frost advisory. Before, it was mostly over the north and west, but that has just been extended through Indianapolis and south and into Greensburg and Seymour, because we are starting to see some of that cooler air continue to filter down. We're going to continue to see that this morning. Some of those temperatures expected to drop a couple degrees yet before we start to warm back up. And the good news is we'll warm back up pretty quickly. That's because that high pressure is in control right now. That's keeping our skies fairly clear. We could see maybe a couple clouds filter through today, but for the most part, we're looking at clear skies on TrueCast for most of your Monday and into our Tuesday, which means we're going to be able to warm up very quickly. Next, high pressure is going to move off to the east. We're going to see that mild and warmer air moving over the Midwest. That's going to bring us under a southwest flow as well, which will help usher in some of that warmer and a little bit moister air as we head into the next couple days, which means we could see a little bit of cloud development here and there, and mostly we're just going to notice a little bit warmer air in place. So temperatures today will only climb into the low 60s, and then we are going to climb into the 70s for the rest of the week, which is really where we should be this time of year. We'll actually be a bit above average a couple of those days. Today, though, a chilly start. Temperatures in the 30s this morning. That frost advisory in place until 9 a.m. By noon, we'll hit the 50s, 62 degrees for our high. Overnight tonight won't be as cold, so tomorrow won't be as chilly of a start. Expecting tomorrow to start in the 40s. Looking ahead for the rest of the week, 72 tomorrow, a little breezy Tuesday and Wednesday just as we start to shift those winds, and then we're going to see plenty of sunshine for the week and dry conditions.
Alyssa, thank you. Let's take a look right now at traffic over on the east side of town. Good morning to you. If you're traveling here on I-465 near I-70, you can see traffic in this spot just north of that interchange is traveling up to speed. Just want to keep in mind we do have some road construction here that could change up your commute early this morning. We have the on-ramp from Shadeland Avenue to southbound I-465 there closed until 6 a.m. this morning, so be aware of that as you're traveling on the east and northeast side of town. We also have a crash right now on the east side. This one's on westbound I-70 near Shadeland Avenue. It's blocking one lane of traffic but not causing any delays. We'll continue to keep you updated on any other trouble spots this morning. Raphael?
So Lauren, this morning, a nurse at a local hospital is being credited not for just doing a great job during this pandemic, but also now for saving the life of a man at a Brownsburg bar. Corey Pereira, who works for Community Health Network, says a man at the bar collapsed, stopped breathing, and then had no pulse. That's when Corey's training kicked in, and he started chest compressions. The man eventually responded.
About 2 rounds of compressions in, the guy started responding. He was vomiting. I flipped him on his side, and then he became responsive, and he knew his name, knew where he was, knew his birthday. Just doing my job, doing what I know to do. You can just keep the heart going. Yeah, keep the heart going, and hope that they respond. And fortunately, he responded to just the hands only.
A spokeswoman with the hospital says they did not hear about what happened from Corey himself. An IU East Division police chief was at the bar and sent a letter of recognition to Corey's bosses at Community Hospital East. The spokeswoman says this story is a good reminder that everyone should learn hands-only CPR because in this case, it saved someone's life. And Corey, thank you for being a hometown hero.
That's awesome, Raphael. Thank you. Well, NASA, they're looking for volunteers to help make new discoveries in space. How you can find the next Pluto or Saturn. That story is just after the break. Stick around. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. NASA is asking for your help to find new planets.
So the agency launched a website, Lauren, called Planet Patrol. Why not? So Planet Patrol will let the public help sort through images collected by a NASA survey satellite called TESS. It captures hundreds of thousands of images every year, and it's too many for astronomers to examine. That's where you come in. As you search through the pictures, you can answer questions along the way for the astronomers that will help narrow down the list of potential planets and has also in the past resulted in the discovery of new planets through similar programs in the past. Listen, I already revolve around 2 major stars. They're called Lauren and Alyssa.
Good job,
I don't need to find, right? Hey, I don't need to find a stinking planet. I know where the stars are.
Thank
so,
you. Very much like that, yeah.
Yeah. Like that? Okay.
I really did. That's how I like to start my Mondays, with a nice Rafael Sanchez compliment. And unfortunately, this weather forecast is not that complimentary, at least to start. I think it's actually really nice the rest of the week. Temperatures this morning a little cool. We're starting in the 30s. There's a frost advisory in place until 9 a.m. We're only warming into the low 60s this afternoon. The good news is plenty of sunshine, and then we are warming way up for the rest of the week. We're back into the 70s, close to 80 by Wednesday with sunshine and dry conditions.
Another violent weekend here in Indianapolis, leaving multiple people dead. Just ahead here on Good Morning Indiana, what we know about the investigations and how officials are responding. We'll be right back.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Violence in the Circle City continues. 4 people killed Sunday in separate shootings.
For the first time in 7 months, thousands of IPS students will be back in the classroom today. The plan to keep them safe and healthy as they return to school. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Indiana. A good reminder to slow down at those bus stops, Lauren, as more kids in Indianapolis and Fishers return to school for the first time in months, beginning on this Monday.
That's right. And as those kids are standing outside for the bus stop, they're going to want to bring maybe a winter coat, Alyssa. Yeah. It's cold out there this morning.
I wore my winter coat into the studio today. I think it's chilly out. I think it's winter coat time right now this morning. You won't need it all week. You won't need it by this afternoon. But if you're heading to the bus stop with the kids, I would put that one on. I would put on the winter coat. Temperatures right now are in the 30s across the area. 36 in Indianapolis, 32 right now in Greenfield, 31 in Bloomington and Greencastle. So some really cool spots on the map this morning. We do have a frost advisory in place for most of the state right now as well. That's just been extended. That's until 9 a.m. this morning because we have those clear skies overnight mixed with those really cool temperatures that we're seeing on the map right now. That means we could see some of that frost developing as we head through the morning here. Those temperatures expected to continue dropping off yet a little bit this morning just because of those clear skies. The good news is mostly sunny by this afternoon, 62 degrees for the high. We are warming way up as we head through the rest of the week.
Alyssa, thank you. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. This is a look over on the east side. I-70 here, a view at Shadeland Avenue. We do have a report that a crash is blocking the right eastbound lane of I-70 in this area. Can't see anything, though, here from our camera. And it looks like everything's still traveling up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. So that's good news. If you're traveling on the east side, you shouldn't have any delays. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on that issue. And then all the way up on I-65 near the Clinton County line, we do have southbound I-65 closed due to this semi-fire that happened in the overnight hours. So this is impacting drivers moving southbound from areas like Lafayette heading towards Indianapolis. You'll need to reroute at this time and avoid I-65. We'll continue to monitor that scene and keep you updated when all lanes are back open this morning. It is 5:32, Raphael. For the first time since March, if you can believe it, some IPS students are making their way back into the classroom today.
It's been a long time for those kids. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with how the district plans to keep their students and staff safe. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So starting today, like you said, for the first time since March, kindergarten through third graders will start phasing back into the classroom in all IPS schools. So we went inside Daniel Webster School 46 to see what those plans and protocols and procedures are going to be in place to keep students and staff all healthy. And it starts right here with this 41-page health and safety plan.
I am so ready to get these kids back in school.
Cameron Riddle is a first grade teacher at Daniel Webster School 46. She says being in the classroom is crucial for social and emotional learning.
They need to be around their peers. They need to be somewhere that's not around like their parents every single day. Like they need to have that independence.
But getting kids to not touch their eyes, nose, mouth, and each other can be difficult.
We have a procedure and protocol for pretty much everything.
Principal Allison Peterkin says they have procedures for walking in the hallway, going to lunch, recess, dismissal, and even bathroom breaks.
Each class has their own recess equipment, and it will be cleaned every single night. We have different times throughout the day that the bathrooms will be deep cleaned, and we'll have a deep cleaning process at the end of every day.
She tells us the district bought lanyards to help kids keep their masks on, and they bought water bottles for every student so they can use the automatic water fountain.
If you've ever watched a very young child take a drink out of a water fountain, many a times their mouth gets way too close. And so by doing this, we don't have a whole bunch of germs all touching the same surface.
Now, this is obviously going to be a big change for students and staff, and both Peterkin and Riddle are glad that they have extra time with the youngest students to get them adjusted.
We're definitely going to take that first week and just go over expectations, procedures, routines in the classroom, especially since they're going to look a little different with all of the new cleanliness procedures we have to follow.
So they are going to be cohorting and social distancing the kids. That way, if someone does get COVID-19, they can easily assess who that kid has been around and make sure everyone that needs to quarantine does quarantine. So they're going to do this just K through 3 this week. Next week, everyone will be virtual for fall break. And then on October 19th, they're going to start phasing in K through 12th grade, again, with all of these safety procedures in mind. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. And we can tell you that students up in Hamilton Southeastern schools, they're also heading back to the classroom today. The district's phased reopening plan calls for kindergarten through 4th grade students to begin on-site learning 5 days a week. HSE has a 3-phase plan to open its school buildings. The plan goes from all virtual learning to a hybrid schedule to full-time in-person learning. Families can choose to stay with the all virtual learning during those last 2 phases. It's still unclear as of now when students grades 5 through 12 could return to the classroom at 100%. The soonest that could be possible due to the district's plan is mid-October.
Lauren, this morning there is growing outrage over the president's impromptu visit with supporters. Sunday, he broke his quarantine at Walter Reed Hospital to do a drive-by for fans that were outside that facility. Take a look. You can see him in the back seat waving and wearing a mask, but health experts say he is likely still contagious. The CDC says any movement of a hospitalized COVID patient outside the room should be done only for medically essential purposes. And a Walter Reed attending physician, he's blasting what he calls a stunt.
The idea that this would be cleared without any medical indication is absurd. Masks or no masks, being inside a vehicle that is hermetically sealed circulates virus inside and potentially puts people at risk.
In a tweet, Phillips also says that every person involved in that drive-by should be quarantined for 14 days. But the White House released a statement saying appropriate precautions were taken. Meanwhile, Democrat Joe Biden tested negative on Sunday, as did his running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, who is scheduled to debate Vice President Mike Pence on Wednesday. Here is the latest on the pandemic's impact on our state. Here are the latest numbers as we have them at WRTV. 1,096 new cases are being reported by state health officials, those numbers from Sunday. That brings the total number of positive cases to 125,146. State health officials also report 5 new deaths. Since the first cases of coronavirus were reported in March, 3,447 Hoosiers have died with the virus. As health officials voice concerns about a possible twindemic with COVID-19 and influenza, we are keeping a close eye on Indiana's hospital preparedness. We remain in good shape with more than 80% of ventilators available for use. Just over 3% are being used by COVID patients. About 36% of ICU beds are available. That's down slightly from last week. Just under 13% of beds are being used by COVID patients. Around 52% are being used by non-COVID patients.
The time right now is 5:38. To encourage people to get their flu shots, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and Marion County Public Health Department Director Dr. Virginia Kane are helping to launch the Sleeve Up campaign. The effort is in partnership with Eskenazi Health Window of Health program and the Consulate of Mexico in Indianapolis. It's focused on educating the community about the importance of getting a flu vaccine during the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of the campaign, both Mayor Hogsett and Dr. Kane will be receiving their flu shots. The campaign kicks off at 9 o'clock this morning at the Consulate of Mexico in Indianapolis, located on Southeast Street. Let's get a check of our forecast right now as the kids are getting ready to head out to the bus stop, Alyssa.
Yeah, we were talking about it before. It is kind of a winter coat morning as you head to the bus stop with the kids. Might want to put on that warmer jacket. The good news is you don't need it later today, but temperatures to start today are in the 30s across the area. We're at 36 in Indianapolis. Some areas to the south and west of us in the lower 30s, right around 31 in Bloomington this morning. And those temperatures expected to drop off a little bit yet this morning just because we do have those clear skies right now in the forecast. Frost advisory also in effect right now until 9 a.m. Highs today will reach the low 60s, so about 10 degrees below average, but plenty of sunshine as we head into the afternoon hours. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, 72 tomorrow, 78 on Wednesday, and then we're staying in the 70s as we head towards the weekend. So we are going to be back to average, some nicer conditions for the rest of the week on tap.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Deadly violence continues in the Circle City, where the latest incidents occurred and how city leaders are now responding.
And a Fort Wayne man who lost his eye during a protest is suing the city and police. After the break, what he's demanding from city leaders. It's 5:40. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 5:43. Here's a look on the east side right now at I-70 and Shadeland Avenue. Everything here on the lanes of interstate traveling up to speed. We did have a crash, though, a vehicle into the ditch on the eastbound side, and crews are working to retrieve that right now. So just be on the lookout for that as you travel through this area. We'll continue to keep you updated. Another violent weekend here in Indianapolis. 4 people killed in just 24 hours and at least 9 others shot. The latest act of deadly violence happening around 8:30 last night on the east side. Police tell us a man was found dead in the 3000 block of Forest Manor Avenue near 30th and Sherman. A woman who is believed to be an innocent bystander was also shot in the arm. She's expected to be okay. Just hours before that, investigators say 27-year-old James Upshaw, 32-year-old Juan Riveria, and 33-year-old Shayna Jones were shot to death when gunfire broke out in a parking lot of the Grand nightclub that's on Massachusetts Avenue near Ritter Avenue. Shortly after that shooting, 4 other shooting victims walked into Community East. They are all expected to survive. Late Sunday night, we received a statement from City County Councilor Keith Graves, who represents this district. He says in part, quote, "While we grieve for those injured and killed in this horrific event, I want to state in the clearest possible terms that this dangerous, irresponsible behavior is not representative of the residents of District 13. He went on to say the events of last night will not deter our residents or our partners at at IMPD East District from the efforts to create safe, welcoming neighborhoods in District 13, end quote. Well, right now there's no suspect or motive information in either of those shootings. So if you have any information that could help police solve these crimes, you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS.
Lauren, a Fort Wayne man who lost an eye during the protest over Breonna Taylor's and George Floyd's death is now suing the city of Fort Wayne and a police officer there in the city of Fort Wayne. 21-year-old Balin Brake, he filed a federal lawsuit claiming the injury has permanently changed his life and led to mounting medical bills. Brake spoke to our sister station, ABC 21 in Fort Wayne, about what happened on that day.
Really, my memory is vague of the actual canister. I remember turning around and I remember it hitting me and then me flying back. And that's what replays in my head over and over again when I think about it. I don't have much more.
In addition to seeking punitive damages and attorney fees, Brake also says he wants an apology from the mayor of Fort Wayne.
You need to come out here and face your people. You need to apologize for what happened. I want you to look me in my eye and say that you're sorry. I want you to look me in my eye and say that you still stand by the police and what they did.
Fort Wayne police say the injury was unintentional and claim that Brake bent over to pick up and allegedly throw that canister. Brake refutes that claim. He also says he won't stop protesting until he sees change.
Early voting begins in Indiana tomorrow, and it's not just the president you'll be voting for, but also a new attorney general as well. Republican candidate Todd Rokita will take on Democrat Jonathan Weinzapfel as incumbent AG Curtis Hill has been ousted. Weinzapfel is the former mayor of Evansville. He served 5 years in the General Assembly and most recently as the chancellor of Ivy Tech Community College in Evansville. We got a chance to sit down with him to talk about why he thinks he's the best fit for attorney general, and here's what he had to say.
These are some real challenging times for Hoosiers, and I think what they're looking for is leadership, whether that's Democrat, Republican, but someone who can work across the aisle and is going to focus on getting things done. And frankly, that is my entire experience as chancellor and as mayor of the city.
Well, you can see our entire interview with Mr. Weinzapfel as well as our entire interview with his opponent, Todd Rokita. It's all online at WRTV.com.
And let WRTV be your source, of course, on Election Day as Democracy 2020 coverage continues. Of course, don't forget that the Election Day is November the 3rd. You can go to vote in our 2020 digital section. There you'll find everything that you need to know, including who's on your ballot, where you can vote and when, how early voting works. It begins tomorrow in Indiana. What mailing in your vote looks like, and what other questions you might have on this election season. Keep a tab open for WRTV.com/vote in 2020.
And here at 548, let's take you out to California. Well, they're still dealing with the wildfires in that area. The fire agency there says blazes like these have burned for well over 4 million acres so far just this year. And in an update on Sunday, CAL FIRE says more than 16,000 firefighters are battling 23 major blazes, plus smaller fires. They say at least 31 people are dead because of this year's wildfires, and about 100,000 had to evacuate. More than 8,000 structures are in ashes, and California's wine country is decimated. The SCU and LNU lightning complex fires were some of the largest blazes in state history before firefighters contained them. Taking you back here at home, things are cool to start our Monday and our work week, Alyssa.
Yes.
What's the difference between just 24 hours ago?
You know what? A big difference, Lauren. We've dropped about 15 to 20 degrees depending on where in the state you are. We're about 16 degrees cooler right now in Indianapolis than this time yesterday. About 25 degrees cooler in Terre Haute, 22 degrees cooler in Bloomington. Now we are starting in the 30s this morning. It's 36 in Indy, 31 down in Bloomington, 28 in Terre Haute. So some very chilly spots on the map this morning. That's why we do have that frost advisory in place. That has been extended to cover most of the state by now. And that's because we have those clear skies, those cool temperatures, light winds, all of that mixed together means the potential for frost developing across much of the state. That frost advisory is in effect until 9 a.m. this morning. morning, so just be aware as you head out the door, there might be some frost on your grass, and you might notice that chill in the air this morning because we do have that cool air moving down from Canada, and you can really see that on our Midwest temperatures map where that cool air is sitting right now. It's right over Indiana, which is why we are getting kind of the brunt of that colder air. As we head through the day, we are going to warm up quickly because high pressure is in control. So we're starting today, and we had overnight clear skies, which is why our temperatures have dropped so much by this morning. That cooler air is in place. We had nothing to insulate us from that cooler, drier air from the north. As we head through the day, mostly going to see those clear skies, maybe a few high clouds filtering through, but for the most part, sunshine is going to be in control, which means temperatures will climb pretty quickly. So even though we're starting pretty cool today, we'll warm up into the low 60s by this afternoon. Next, that high pressure is moving out of the area. More mild conditions will move in behind it. Southwest air will filter in, and that's going to bring us some more warm and humid air from the south, which means those temperatures will climb a little bit each day. And as that moves in, also going to see a little bit of a gusty wind tomorrow and into Wednesday, just as we hit that transition between those air masses. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, today will be the coolest day in the forecast, those highs only reaching the low 60s. Tomorrow we're jumping about 10 degrees back to where we should be. Then we'll be above average briefly midweek before we are dropping back down towards the weekend. Today is going to be the coolest day. As I said, temperatures starting very chilly this morning with that sunshine. We'll climb into the mid 50s by the noon hour, low 60s this afternoon. But look at that, plenty of sunshine throughout our day. And tomorrow will not be as chilly of a start. Tomorrow we'll start in the 40s, so about 10 to 15 degrees warmer tomorrow morning than where we're starting today. And the rest of the week we are back to average with some breezy conditions midweek, but for the most part dry and pleasant week ahead.
All right, Alyssa, sounds pretty good. Thank you. As you're heading out on the roads this Monday, I want to take you over to the east side where we're looking at I-70 and Shadeland Avenue. In the eastbound direction, crews are working to get a vehicle out of the ditch, but it's not slowing down traffic in either direction, so that is good news this morning. The only other major problem we have on your interstates right now is southbound I-65 closed as you're leaving the Lafayette area at State Road 28 for a semi-fire cleanup. Take US 52 as a detour. Well, live music, it's back here in Marion County. Up next, we're going to talk to one establishment about how these eased restrictions are helping to boost business. It's 5:52. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Well, Raphael, with Marion County easing some restrictions, live music is returning to restaurants and bars all across our area.
So, of course, we visited Binkley's Kitchen and Bar on North College Avenue. After the Colts win, the band Touch of Grass played out on the patio. We talked with both the manager and a member of the band about being able to finally have live music during this pandemic.
We miss helping out the people that we help out. I mean, there's a reason that we do this. We've been doing it a long time, and we want to. The whole idea is to bring value to places. If any musician that you talk to, they're passionate about making sure that the places that they play obviously benefit, and this is why we're here.
Hopefully, everybody enjoys coming back out and listening to some live music. We just haven't had any around here, so. And we're excited. I mean, it's time. You know, we're moving forward. And I think we're just ready.
Yeah, we are all ready. I'll agree with that. Binkley's has not yet posted who will be playing on the patio next there on College Avenue. So, Alyssa, music in the air, but you'll also feel the chill in the air as you step outside on this Monday morning.
Yeah, it's going to be very chilly to start today, Raphael. Temperatures in the 30s for much of the morning, but we will warm quickly into the low 50s by the noon hour, and then we'll hit the 60s this afternoon, low 60s for our Monday forecast. We're going to see a big change, though, as we head through the week. We're going to drop, or rather climb more than 10 degrees by Wednesday. We're close to 80 degrees. So a big temperature swing on the way. I'll have more details coming up in the next half hour.
Alyssa, thank you. Social distancing, isolation, and financial concerns can really take a big toll on our mental health. Coming up in the next half hour, how a local flower farm is helping Hoosiers cope with the stressors brought on by this pandemic.
Encouraging kids to walk to school and not ride the school bus. The safety plan now underway. That story coming up on WRTV.